So here's one, and here's the other. This is my dad's co-worker's, and he said that he had just gotten it serviced and took it in to have the blade sharpened, and it had some sort of fuel leak, which apparently the people said they fixed, but I guess apparently they didn't because it's still leaking fuel. He does want a few other things done to this, mainly this cover that's on this one he wants put over to that one, and he said that I can keep this one if I want it, which of course I'm going to take it because these are, you know, kind of cool. But he wants this one just because it's in a little bit better condition, which don't really matter to me. This thing is a 1978, so it's pretty old. So what we're going to do is fill it up with gas and see if it is leaking, where it's leaking from. Because it could just be that the carburetor wasn't tightened down enough. He said something about that it might be the gasket. I don't know. This is one of those things why one of those reasons why you'd always got to verify this stuff for yourself, because sometimes people just tell you the wrong information. It could be that this seam is bad, so I might have to fill it up all the way, and then if it's leaking out of the tank, I'm going to have to pull all that fuel out, which isn't a huge deal. But that being said, if I got to replace the tank, I got one right here that hopefully still works. Alright, so like I said, verifying what exactly is wrong with this thing is pretty important. So we'll throw some gas in her and see what happens. Apparently this does run. I don't know how well, but apparently it does run. So you guys can't really see that all that well. There's definitely some fuel. Well, so I hope for the best for this tank, but unfortunately, I believe it's the tank that's messed up. Looks like we've got some rust on it. And once these things rust up, they need to be just gotten rid of. So we're actually going to pull the tank and carb off of the lawnmower. First, I'm going to dump out all the gas, which, you know, had to put gas in it to see where it was leaking from, making sure it wasn't up here or here. So let me get it ready. All right, so we're going to remove the tank. And first thing we will do is pull this retaining bolt out. It goes in there pretty loosely. They all seem to break here. I don't know why that is, but all of these seem to break right there. The next order of business is to disconnect the carb from the tank. And to do that, all you have to do is remove those screws that are holding the carburetor to the tank. So here's the old tank. You guys can see it was leaking right there. I'll bring it up to the camera in a minute. But I pulled the other tank off of the other lawnmower, and now I have it right here, as well as a brand new base gasket for the carburetor because that one's old and nasty. Now it looks like whoever had this thing before tried to repair it with some sort of epoxy, which, as any of you know, gasoline will just eat through just about anything. New, these tanks are really expensive. I haven't even priced them out new because they're just not worth buying new. It practically totals the machine, especially when people figure out, you know, how much they are. But this tank is pretty much done for. It's busted down here. I've seen so many of these break right here. And plus, you know, it's got the holes in it. More random cattage. Anyways, so I just threw a new carburetor gasket on. You guys can't really see it, but I did thread it on up here. So there you go. And so now we'll go ahead and stick this gas tank where it's supposed to be. So very carefully, we're going to reinstall this. I just loosened up the carburetor a bit just to let it flex. And there we go. simple as that. So what I'm doing now is, you guys can't really see it, but I'm making sure that the gasket is where it is supposed to be, and it definitely looks like that. So what I'm going to do is cinch the carburetor back down, and you do want to make sure these screws are relatively tight and that they won't back out, especially these two. Your two mount bolts, these can be a big pain in the ass just because of the way they are. Alright, so I just checked the oil, got the gas tank all put back together as well as the carburetor. And I did cheat a little bit. Seems to run okay. Idle's pretty nice. A little rattly, but that's pretty common on these. So now I'm just going to service the air filter if it needs it, put that back on, and then swap that chain guard over. Alright, so what I have here is some chain lube, nothing fancy. And I'm just going to lube this chain up. That's tight enough. So now to put all this stuff away and get you guys an end of this video. So that's all on and in place. Let's turn her on and see what happens. Talk about white knuckle syndrome. Thing runs pretty damn good though. I've never had one of these that didn't vibrate the hell out of your hands though, to be honest. They all seem to do it. And the main problem with them is there's no vibration absorbing in it. It would be a lot easier if they would install some sort of maybe a rubber shock or mount system on these handles, because that would make it a lot easier on you. But yeah, you definitely need to wear gloves with one of these, or else this will give you a white knuckle syndrome for sure. But this is all I was instructed to do on this thing, was fix the leak and put that cover on from this lawnmower, which I didn't show you guys this one. This one's actually newer. It's an 87. So we'll see what happens with this one. I do have a motor to go onto it. I might swap this one over. Might. Haven't decided on that yet. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and stay tuned for more.